Hey guys, David here and welcome to this video. This is part 2 of my virtual PC build series, and you can already see how it's gonna look at the end of this episode behind me. So last time we left off with some of the components installed already, but none of the water cooling parts. And shortly after that, a giant package from Performance PC arrived with a whole bunch of water cooling parts in it. So I went ahead and started playing around with it, thinking how I want to do the loop, and many things worked out beautifully, while I did have some snafus. Let's start off with the CPU block. I'm using the same exact block as I used in my original system, so I already knew how it works and that it's going to fit, so that went in very smoothly. The GPU already has the water block installed from my old system, so I didn't have to worry about that part. And then when it got to the reservoir, I originally bought the Singularity Computer's Core reservoir mount because I really love that mount, and I'm a huge fan of the Singularity Computer's YouTube channel, so I wanted to support them and use that really awesome mount. But I didn't pay attention that the reservoir that I got is actually too big to fit that mount, and the reservoir itself already includes kind of a mounting system. So sadly, I won't be using the Singularity's mount, but I'm certainly keeping it and using it in a future build. Instead, what I did is print a few adapters so I can mount the reservoir with the existing mounting holes to the radiator. You can actually buy these brackets, but I of course didn't know it in advance, and I wanted to do it like quick, because I want to get this computer up and running. So I just designed and printed them, and 3 hours later I was back in business. So I mounted the reservoir, which is also including the pump. It mounts together very nicely, and I really do kind of like that reservoir, except one thing that I'm gonna cover later. So I mounted these two things to the radiator, and also mounted the fans to the radiator. The fans are some relatively cheap RGB fans that just have a button to cycle through different colors, which I think is the way to go, as the way that Corsair does it with these fans is like really messy. You have a whole bunch of cables and things to plug into, and then you can only have one color for all the fans. This way I can change the color for each of the front fans individually. But I just keep them on red, as that shines through the front panel beautifully and matches the rest of the aesthetic. You can also see that I have some really nice sleeve cables in there, and as much as I would love to claim that I made them myself, I didn't. They are from Mainframe Customs that made them custom to my order, and they are just extensions to the PSU cables, and they look absolutely gorgeous. Now, I was stupid and ordered a 6-pin PCIe extension instead of an 8-pin for my graphics card, so I'm gonna have to reorder that, and for now I'm just using the stock cable, which is a big bummer. Then, when it came to building out the loop, I already had some experience with working with PETG from my last build, which made it a lot easier to get all the bends done. Some of the bends are pretty easy, like the one from the graphics card to the CPU. It's just a 90-degree bend with a tiny bit of an offset. Also, the other two bends that are pretty big, they do have two bends which have to like align nicely, but they were pretty straightforward, and I got them in 1 or 2 tries. But there was one really tricky bend, and that's up in the corner between the reservoir and the radiator. Normally, you would absolutely do that with fittings, but I didn't plan that exactly, and I didn't order the fittings, because like fittings are super expensive, and doing that part with fittings will cost around $50, and so I tried to do it with the tubing, and it is like a super tiny bend, so I wasn't expecting much. But after a few tries, I actually did manage to get it. Now, of course, this band looks horrible if you actually look at it, but luckily it's mostly hidden, because like I had to like twist the tube and like kink it and do a bunch of stuff so that I could get the bands this tight. because I have to have like 2 bands with like an inch in between, which is like almost impossible to get. But I did manage it and I got it in there. Now the reservoir is a tiny bit lower than I would love. That results in the bottom tube actually touching the PSU shroud, which I'm not too keen on, but I guess it works. It doesn't look that bad. And speaking of shrouds, much of the cable management and all that stuff is still very visible. So what I'm going to do in the next part is build a whole bunch of 3D printed shrouds. I want to cover up the bottom compartment completely so that just like the reservoir and the pump comes out. I want to cover almost all the cable management area. I want to cover behind the reservoir so you don't see all the grommets and everything. But that's going to be a lot of design work and printing, so that's in the next part. But for now, let's just take a look at some glamour footage of this, what I think is already a really beautiful computer. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, please leave a like down below and remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next parts. Also, if you're shopping online, consider using my affiliate links linked down below, which don't cost you any more money, but they help me out a lot. You can also check out my social media down below, where I've posted a bunch of pictures of this computer already, so if you want to see the furthest progress right when I post it, then go to social media. Also, my 3D printer giveaway of this printer back there is still open, so you can join that at the link below. So thanks for watching, and until next time.